All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm sure you've seen the clip by now. JJ Redick and Big Perk went at it, and JJ went there. He really went there on this one. And he said this.
I want to just say something.
JJ, give
Stephen
back.
A., Stephen A., I mean no offense to you, and I mean no offense to First Take, because I think this show is extremely valuable. It is an honor to be on this desk every day. It really is. But what we've just witnessed is the problem with this show, where we create narratives that do not exist in reality. The implication, what you are implying, that the white voters that vote on NBA are racist, that they favor white people. You just said that. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. That is exactly what you implied, Kendrick Perkins. That is exactly what you implied. Secondly, hold on.
I did not call. I stated the facts. And you're not about to sit up.
We all know what you implied the other day. We all know what you implied just now. Hold on.
I stated it's the facts. It's the facts. It's the facts.
Now, if you haven't noticed, things have been getting a little bit hot under the collar at First Take. You had the situation with Malika, with Stephen A. You had this situation with JJ, with J. Will, another situation. I'm sure that they probably going to get that call to say, y'all got to tone it down. This is not what people have come here to watch. But that's another story for another day. But let's go back to JJ. Yeah, I think he's wrong. I think that there are some inherent biases that we all have, unconscious or conscious, that I think everybody can agree to if they're being objective, that everybody has them, and they play a part in the way that we perceive things. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. So one, Linsanity. Everybody remembers Linsanity. It was a special moment in time. I think it had a 30 for 30 documentary. It was the most rocking the Garden has been into this recent stretch of play. And I think part of Linsanity was the game winners, was bringing the Garden back. But it was the oddity of seeing an Asian guy hoop like that. Most people, their biases, unconscious or conscious, if you were picking players in the open gym, you probably wouldn't pick Jeremy Lin. So it was the great play, it was the game winners, and also the oddity of an Asian guy doing that. And it's just not only race related. I'll give you another one, Spud Webb, with his dunking. If you really rate his dunks compared to the other dunkers, I don't think that they were better. I don't think that they were, that far superior to win dunk contests. But I think it was the oddity of seeing a guy that height being able to jump and dunk like that. Now, there's no correlation between height and vertical leap, but it was an oddity seeing that. And if you talk about JJ Redick, I think he should know this. Now, this was a little bit of racism, maybe a lot of bit of racism. But when he was trying to sign with the Clippers the first time, Doc Rivers had to convince Donald Sterling that a white player was worth that much money. So JJ Redick should know the inherent biases that happen in the league firsthand. So when you hear people praising Joker and they talk about his zero vertical leap, and they talk about how red his face gets, how many scratches he has on his arm, and constantly bring up his childhood pictures to say, hey, who would expect this guy to be an NBA great player? They're talking about their biases. And to see a player that looks like that plays like that, they are biased towards it. There's nothing wrong in saying that. And another point that objectively JJ Redick got wrong was he said that Jokic, somehow he act like he knew him, that the Joker doesn't stat pad. That's just false. ESPN's own Tim McMahon, who covers that region for the NBA, pointed out that he stat padded a couple weeks back versus Dallas.
That's a great point. I've always talked about how there's blatant stat chasing going on, and Jokic seems immune to that. We have an exception. He blatantly chased a triple-double against the Mavericks on Wednesday night. It was one of those. He had 9 assists, and Vlatko Cancar, one of the best Slovenian players in the NBA, missed 3-pointers off the Jokic passes. Actually, I like Vlatko. He's become a pretty good role player. But he missed threes off the Jokic passes on like 2 straight possessions. And then Jokic, I think he hit Bruce Brown, little cut dunk. and then grabs a rebound, timeout. He's coming out of the game.
10 assists. Yay, he got it. And as soon as he got it, he went out on the bench. If that's not stat pattern, then what is stat pattern? And I think there is another inherent bias that the NBA media has towards European players that is more behavioral. And I think is that they do not really take part in the player empowerment era. The player empowerment era, much to the chagrin of NBA media, is in full force. And I think that you've seen the biggest guys in NBA media, Bill Simmons, Charles Barkley, just come out openly against player empowerment. They do not like the fact that players have the ability to choose their own destiny and will leave a team. And they've talked about that openly.
And I feel like the NBA is veering the other way with these guys that the moment they don't like their situation, they're just like, get me out of here. And it's turned into a get me out of here league, which is why the guys like Ja and Jokic, who are just like, this is where I want to be. I love playing with these guys. Jokic loses Murray and Porter. You never heard him say like, oh man, well, I don't know. We'll see if I stay. Like, he's just like, who's on my team? I'm wearing this uniform. I'm playing. I don't like where the league's going, KOC. Where do you stand on all this?
Some people were disappointed that Kevin went there, but I don't think they're villains. I was disappointed. And listen, I'm disappointed in some of the shots Kevin has taken in Oklahoma City. Kevin's been a great player and he's a good dude, but some of these shots he's taken at, obviously, Russell Westbrook and Oklahoma City Thunder, I thought was really unnecessary.
Why were you disappointed he left?
Well, because I wanted him to stay in Oklahoma City. I want competitive balance. I don't like super teams. I want guys to compete. That's why I was disappointed.
But if you notice, European players don't really take part in that. European players don't care about the city they play. They don't need a love from a particular city because they have the love from their country. As soon as the season's over, they don't need to be in Miami or want to live in LA because they're going home to their country. When Jokic won his MVP this last time, they had to go to Serbia to get it. As soon as the season was over, he was out. Same for Luka. And then wanting to play with their friends, another reason that guys in the player empowerment era kind of changed teams. They don't have guys that they played AAU ball with that they've been wanting to play with since they were 14. They were professionals the whole time. Being a professional lets them know, hey, guys come in, they get traded. It is what it is. You rarely see international players wanting control of, team dynamics. They've been professionals since they were 13. They know how the games go. They've kind of been soldiered and disciplined to that. They don't have that ridiculous system that we have here where you have to play college basketball or high school basketball for a year before you get into the NBA. You can be a pro when you're 12. So they don't really care about, hey, I want to play with my friends. I've been a professional my whole life. There's no friends in this industry for them, right? And my guys from my country that I want to play with, I'll play with them when it's time to play Euro basketball. And another part of the player empowerment era that they don't take part in is new media. You've heard Draymond Green talk about new media. LeBron was the first with the new media, his shop, all the different types of podcasts and other outlets that they've started. They started the Players Tribune. KD has his own outfit as well. European players, if you think about it, which European star has their own podcast? Once again, they're professionals their whole life. They're used to talking to media. If they have something to say, they'll go talk to media. NBA players are cutting out the media more and more, much to the chagrin of NBA media guys. They don't do Bill Simmons podcast. What NBA star comes on Bill Simmons podcast anymore? What NBA player does a deep dive piece for ESPN and video? They don't do it anymore. And you're kidding yourself if you don't think that pisses NBA media off. Think about the biggest story in NBA media right now, Ja Morant. A lot of people have compared this to the AI situation. When AI got in trouble, Stephen A was with him every day, did multiple interviews with him, had direct access to him. Does anyone have direct access to Ja? Have you heard any reports from sources inside Ja Morant's camp say they don't talk to them? They might give information to Woj every once in a while, but they don't have any guy in the media that they talk to. That's the new NBA. for American players. And you're fooling yourself if you don't think that pisses a lot of media guys off. So when you couple the bias inherently in Jokic to they're upset about the player empowerment area and they're upset about new media, you have to come to the conclusion that yes, there are biases that European players are getting that American players are not getting. This stuff pisses them off. This stuff about, in particular, the player empowerment pisses them off. The new media situation pisses them off. The fact that Draymond Green will be in the finals doing more in-depth interviews on his own podcast than to all the hundreds of media members that descend on the finals. You don't think that makes them mad? You don't think they're thinking like, well, what's going on with it? They're trying to cut us out the deal. So I think that if JJ takes the blinders off for a second, he will see that he's wrong and that there are points here. So let me know what you think. Leave a comment. I try to respond to all the comments. Subscribe to Gamers Game.